this a good angle? I don't even know. No one's really giving me feedback on this video, so I'm gonna stick with this, but I'm pretty sure I can find a better angle. Okay. Anyways, tonight's video rather is more of a follow-up. Well, not really, it's more of an elaboration to a statement I said in my previous video. Yeah, they're more or less one video anyway. It's about the Borghese thing. Okay, I'm not really comfortable with saying that word. It feels so weird, but to clear that up now, I'm referring to the opinion. I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm not really sure if it's an opinion, but let's say it's an issue wherein in UP, apparently and logically, people who are in the middle class or the higher middle class, and especially those in the upper class, shouldn't really be in UP. Like, they don't really belong there. It's not really a rights thing, because like they earned their spots there because of the upcut, of course, but the argument goes, when you can afford a university that has tuition, then you should go to that university, because you're taking away opportunity for the less fortunate people, because you're taking their slots when you could have gone to another university. But then again, this is a very complex issue, and I don't really want to dive deep into that in this video, because that deserves a video of its own, and I don't have enough statistics and, let's just say, input to form a very, let's just say, valid opinion. I came upon that conclusion of mine on my own. I did not know of this Borghese thing beforehand. I just thought that it just made sense na when you're rich, you shouldn't take away opportunities for the poor. Okay? The world is already unfair in itself, but there are many counter arguments to that. I don't really want to dive deep into that, but in relation to that, to some extent, I believe that being privileged is not only a privilege, but it's also a responsibility. And here's why. Privileged people are undeniably and objectively in an advantage. This is actually one of the core foundations, or like one of the first thoughts that led to my conclusion of that opinion of mine regarding the Borghese thing. When you have an advantage in terms of funding, resources, and let's just say support, then you're supposed to use it. And you shouldn't, again, take away. Not really take away, not because you want to, but because you can. I know it's a blur. That's why I'm not gonna tackle it in this video, but on a more general sense, privileged people have an advantage. That I think that's something we can agree upon, especially when it comes to time and labor. And the go-to example I give or provide to people who ask me about this is that, let's say you have helpers in your house because, well, your parents got some, because, well, you can, because you're fortunate. And obviously you have less responsibilities because you don't have as much household chores, because of course you have helpers. You have people to help you out do the shit you're supposed to do, like wash your clothes, cook your food, all those stuff. You get the point. Basically, you have more time for yourself. And what should you be using that time for? Progress. Work hard. At least that's what I think people should be using it for. You are given an advantage already. At least use it for the sake of those who don't. Those people being the less fortunate ones. Okay, I don't really like using the P word. You know what word I'm talking about. Let's just say the unfortunate ones. When things are easier, I actually think it gives us the more reason to work harder. Because of course, the term easy is pretty subjective. Like, let's just say relatively easy and objectively easy. In regards to the criteria I gave a while ago, where you have, more time for yourself, less responsibilities. Basically, you don't have much weight on your shoulders. You don't have this make it or break it situation. Basically, you can chill around once in a while simply because you can. And this privileged life, okay, this is something that your average person would argue, because this is perhaps one of the most sensible conclusions you can come up with is that this is something that you really didn't work hard for. Okay, this is a situation you were born in. This laxness that you're living out. Okay, when I say your, I'm actually also referring to myself, so I'm not pointing people out here. I did not, and we did not work hard for it, unless, okay, in some special occasions, you know, your rise to fortune is something that you experience firsthand. But in most cases, it's your parents, or perhaps even your grandparents, who had to work their butts off in order to give this life you have right now, my life that I have right now, going to USC and all that. The money, you know, I didn't work hard in terms of funding, at least, and wealth, in order to attend this place and have this dorm and have that aircon. Okay, you get the point. So at least I have this sense of obligation to work hard because they worked hard. Like, let's just be fair. And I guess we've known this, or at least we've heard of it, because it's, like I said, it's a sensible conclusion to come up with. But from a fresher perspective, however, I don't think anyone, I haven't really heard anyone tell me this or seen anything remotely close to this argument. But in order for you to be fortunate, or at least in order for your parents to be fortunate, some people have to be unfortunate. And that's just the way life is. Okay, life is a lottery. We didn't get to choose to be fortunate, and that's usually an argument that only applies to unfortunate people, but it actually goes both ways. No one chose to be born in the situation they were in, whether you're fortunate or unfortunate. So, you know, the whole, oh, you just got lucky argument that the lesser fortunate people argue is in itself kind of flawed, and it also works vice versa. When you're fortunate and you bring that argument up, it's not as effective, but it is still valid. But relating to the statement I just said, the people who succeeded in order to give you the life you have now, those people being your parents or literally whoever put you in the easy life you have, they had to outwork other people, or in some cases outluck other people. And I can't help but imagine how much of those people failed. Okay, failed is also very subjective here, in order for your parents to succeed. Again, relatively. I tried my best trying to wrap all that up because I have notes here, and that's the best I can offer. So if it's confusing, I'm sorry, but we have to move forward, or else this video will be 20 minutes long. So next point, from a more, let's say, prideful view, for a lack of a better word, like a less flowers and butterflies and cliche point of view, as people who have an objective advantage, are we seriously going to let people who are at a disadvantage to get ahead of us? Like, why would you let that? Okay, they were and are in a position where success is less likely, or at least it requires more work to attain in comparison to what you and me have. You know, those who have it easy. Again, easy, very subjective, don't cancel me on that. And yet, some unfortunate individuals, they are able to beat all odds and reach their goals despite the setbacks arising from the unfortunate circumstances they will found themselves in. And you know, in most cases they were born in, because we don't really get to choose, do we? Again, I can't stress it enough, very subjective things, but basing off the criteria I mentioned a while ago, they have less time, they have more responsibilities, they're in a situation of urgency, and yet they can outwork us. Okay, and for me, I think that's more of a wake-up call to those who are at a my goodness, what is the grammar here? Who are at an advantage position, they use that advantage even more, because it's not just a position of an advantage, it's also a position of responsibility to some extent. like, this isn't to belittle anybody. Like, I'm not saying that fortunate, unfortunate, to like make things clear here. I had to write it down so I can deliver it way clearly. If someone at a disadvantage who had no choice but to work hard, put in the extra work, and go for those extra miles and hours because of their disadvantageous and for some others make it or break it situations, can achieve and will achieve such great, wonderful, and admirable things. Imagine what someone with advantages, which again, the the time and labor and support and resources, all that, could accomplish with the same level of urgency, dedication, and determination those with the have to people have. Okay, the words are all over the place. It means to be successful is a complete blur. I think it's a pretty complex topic that deserves a video and podcast of its own. But whatever success may mean, it's clear that those who are given the privilege of a relatively easy life, it isn't just a privilege or a gift of someone else's hard work, but it also comes with a sense of responsibility and obligation. Like, privileged people should work hard, because they can, should work hard as much, if not twice as much, as less fortunate people. We should, if you're not doing it for yourself, who possibly lazes around all day and brain rots, at least do it for those who don't laze around all day, because they can't laze around all day because they just have not that much weight or responsibility on their shoulders, because the situation warrants them to be that way. They have to work hard and look at the things they can achieve because of that weight of having to. Place that have to those who can but don't, then I think that would lead to a society where progress isn't even a problem anymore. The fortunate people just use their fortunateness, like build upon those fortunateness to like achieve far better things than whatever the heck they're doing now. So work hard if you're privileged, and this is actually a message to myself as well. Work hard if you can, because you should be thankful that you don't have to work hard. The reason that you don't have to work hard is actually a reason to work hard. It's a loop. And if you don't even put the slightest of effort and just brain out all day simply because you can, because you have that privilege, then I'm sorry, to be frank, please do something with your existence. I really value progress, therefore I have this opinion, and people who do this lenience, I don't know if that's the word, leniency, for lack of a better term, yeah man, we should urge them to do something. Privilege, I don't know, I hope this video makes sense. I'm gonna edit now.